you too have a pile of papers, then you're definitely logged into the right program this evening. We're going to begin our decluttering journey talking about the pile of papers. We'll move on. Pat's already showing them on screen, so we are definitely in good company and they aren't too far away. So we're going to start here. You're definitely not alone. This, of course, is my demonstration pile. I should just mention my personal pile can get a little taller than this. So if you're like, Jamie, that's very unrealistic. It's only about this big. Don't worry. And if you have multiple piles, they can be musical in nature. They move around the house, right? From tabletop to counter to ottoman to chair and back again. So we're going to start with the pile of papers. One thing that Tracy did not share with you in the introduction is how much I love to clip out recipes. And I think we all know these are recipes I will never prepare. So if you're like me and you clip them out, hopefully you're not tearing them out of the library's magazine. They do frown upon that. But we love the recipes. I make the mistake of looking at recipes when I'm hungry and then everything looks delicious. And I'm pulling them out and they add to my pile of papers. Also in my pile of papers, usually an envelope with a phone number. You know what's always so interesting about this? There's always a number, but there's never a, say it with me, never a name. I don't know why. I don't make the rules. I'm just saying that's how that tends to go. And in the last 2 years or so, I will also have little scribbles of paper with numbers that are too many digits to be a phone number. And you know what it is? It's a Zoom meeting, just like this one. So if you're waiting for your friend or your coworker to log on and you don't see them on the screen quite yet, it may be because they're looking for the scrap of paper where they wrote the information. And also in the pile of papers, I hope I'm not alone in receiving a handful of these that come in. So it's just a few, and you never know when you're going to need, I don't know, an avocado slicer, a set of sheets, a shower curtain. And so we save them because they don't expire if you use them in person. So it's all these papers and so much more, including all the restaurant takeout menus. And why do I have so many? Because I'm not making the recipes. So I need to order out, right? So it's all of this and so much more. If you too have a pile of papers, we'll start with a very simple solution. I talk about it in the paperwork chapter of Keep This, Toss That. So if you've read it or you're going to borrow it from the library, the paperwork chapter covers this in great detail. I'm going to share the technique with you now, and it is a desktop file box. So if you've joined me for a program in the past, or you've been over to jamienovak.com and you've seen sort of the YouTube show where I demonstrate this, it is a desktop file box. It's just about the width of the palm of my hand, and it holds hanging file folders. I think we all know that if you were to file any of these papers in a traditional filing cabinet, out of sight, out of mind, right? So you're going to put it away, never to be seen again, which is why our filing cabinets are overflowing with important historical documents like the phone bill from 1927. And then we can't file a thing, so the to be filed goes on top of the filing cabinet and the whole system goes downhill very quickly. For the papers that you need to access all the time, what would that look like? Bills to be paid, restaurant takeout menus, recipes I'll never prepare, information for a doctor's appointment 2 weeks from today. Where does all that go? It might go in your desktop file box. I am absolutely not here to suggest you go and buy anything new. So please do shop at home first to see if you even have a box like this. Many of us have picked up this box. Ours has a lid and a handle, and it's meant to take our files, I suppose, on vacation. I'm not sure, but it's sort of a travel box. That box is exactly this box. If yours has a lid, do me a favor, leave the lid up, because you know on a busy day, you're going to bring in the mail, put everything on top of the lid, and you'll never open the box again. So rule is no lid, leave the lid up, but shop at home. If you don't have a box like this, and you absolutely think that you want to try this, it's about a $20 investment. You can pick up a desktop file box on Amazon, Staples, Walmart, wherever you might find yourself shopping. Container Store, of course. So this is our desktop file box. It holds hanging file folders, one category of paper per file folder. And now you might be thinking, this sounds great, Jamie. Now I'm going to go get my label maker. please don't go get your label maker. No one has time. We're very busy, right? I'm going to just guess that we've all got a lot going on. What if we were to take a sticky note? Please don't go buy sticky notes. Just check your drawer. You probably have sticky notes somewhere. We're going to take the sticky note to the inside back of that file folder, and I've labeled it, right? So otherwise, you'd still be looking for the label maker. So we need easy, we need simple, we need quick. We are busy. There's a lot going on. So we're just going to make that label. You can go ahead and label it. Recipes, or maybe you're thinking of moving and you're starting a moving file. Maybe you want to redecorate the living room and you're checking out paint colors. As your tax forms were coming in a few weeks ago, where did they go? And they could have gone right here. Bills to be paid. We mentioned physician's appointment. If you're going to the doctor in 2 weeks and you're like, wait a minute, where do I put the prescription or the referral? Right here, doctor's appointment, such and such a day. Anyone taking notes tonight? Where are your notes going? I hope they're not going to go in a pile of papers. So right here, organizing notes or class notes or anything like that. So think about current topics that are important to you, that you have paperwork related to them. Each one of the types of paper is going to get its own file folder. Each file folder gets a label, papers in and papers out. If you never take papers out of the file box, you're going to email me in a couple of weeks and you're going to say, Jamie, it's going great. I just bought my 8th box. I think this is really working. So I absolutely would invite you to put papers in and take papers out. So on a weekly basis, skim the tabs, be sure they're all still current. It's so much easier to move this off of a tabletop or a kitchen counter than it would be to move the pile of papers that's always cascading anyway. So if you want to give it a go, desktop file box, 1 category of paper per file. But this box is not meant for your reading material because your catalogs and magazines would fill up the box very quickly. And may I remind you that all the magazines are available to borrow from the library. We can read them there. We can read them digitally. So it's very possible that maybe you don't need your own collection of magazines, at least not maybe as many as you're currently getting, especially if they're maybe magazines on getting organized and then they sit in a pile. You know what's just happened? The organizing articles and magazines have become the clutter. So it's a full circle moment. We just want to read or let it go. If you're not sure if you'll miss a subscription, pause it as if you're on vacation. See if you can live without it. And if you really miss it, you can start up that subscription again. Anyone else receiving catalogs? Oh my goodness, right? The catalogs, and they promise you, if you don't order, it'll be your last catalog. Is it ever your last catalog? It's never my last catalog. They just keep coming. You can log on for free to catalogchoice.org. Catalog choice, as in you're choosing the catalog you want, catalog choice, and it's a .org. So when you get there, all you have to do is make an account, of course, but it's totally free. And then you'll see an A to Z list of all of the catalogs that are printed. And on your behalf, they will have you removed from the ones you no longer want. And their whole goal in life is to stop the wasteful printing of paper that no one wants. So it's a win-win for everyone. And remember, catalogs are available. The information's on their website. You can always reorder a catalog if you miss it. But I think you'll be really glad to see fewer things in your mailbox. Talking about fewer things in your mailbox, if you're trying to trim down the junk mail you're receiving, there's one place you can do it to remove yourself from up to 70% of the junk mail you may be receiving. That's because there's one company that controls the biggest mailing list for junk mail, and that's Direct Marketing Association. So their website is www.dma for Direct Marketing Association, dmachoice.org, dmachoice.org. Now, this one used to be free, and now there is a $3 fee. But if you feel like it's worth $3 to you to see up to a 70% reduction, I can absolutely suggest this one to you. So that's dmachoice.org. Now, if you are furiously scribbling notes on the back of a piece of paper and you just know there's a good chance you're going to lose it, I want to remind you that all these resources are available and constantly updated on my website, which is just my name, jamienovak.com. Under the resources tab, there's an A to Z list of well over 100 resources for ways to remove yourself from junk mail and also what to donate, how to appraise, what to sell and where. So everything's available for you. You're more than happy to keep taking notes, but if you happen to lose them, don't panic. Everything will be well. So we've got a few of you scribbling in a notebook, and I love it, especially if you're using one notebook, just so you always know where it is. So fantastic. We started out our time together with the paperwork. We're going to move on to all the other areas of your home where maybe you just want that fresh start. As it's starting to feel truly more like spring, kind of, although I did have snow flurries this afternoon, so I don't know, don't be in a rush to pack away the winter boots, but I'm just saying it is feeling a little bit more like spring. We want to open the windows and get that fresh start and just come lighten up and free yourself from under the weight of the stuff. So what does that look like for you in your home? Is it that you've lived in your home for 40 years and you have 40 years of accumulation? Children moved out and left things behind for you to store. You inherited items, or you're thinking of moving, or any or all of the above. So wherever you may be in this process, whether it's one drawer or it feels like the whole house and you can't get your car in the garage, you've definitely tuned into the right program. There's 60 of us here this evening because we're all feeling that same way. It's just too much. So if you're wondering where to begin, what to do first, and how to tackle those different areas, that's exactly what we're going to cover. And the very first thing I'd suggest that you do is just to get your little organizing toolkit ready. It's just a handful of things I'd like you to have set to the side. So when that motivation strikes and you're ready to organize, we don't waste all of our time and energy looking for bags. We're going to need bags, right? My greatest hope is that as you're decluttering, you may find some things to share or pass along or donate, maybe recycle, possibly trash. So if ever I use the term toss this evening, I absolutely mean just toss out of your home, but to the best place possible. So we don't want to just add to the landfill whenever we can avoid it, but we've got to get it in a bag to get it out the door. So I'd love for you to have a bag. That means you're going to have to go to your bag collection to find a bag. Once you found a bag, may I invite you to clearly label the bag as to what needs to happen with the bag. And there's a really good reason why you want to have that marker handy and you want to label the bag. And that's because once the bags are all filled up, it can be really hard to remember, where's this bag going? Is this the trash bag or the shredding bag? Is this the recycle bag? Am I donating it? I'm not sure. And when we're not sure, what happens? We look through the bag to make sure we have the right bag. And as we're looking through the bag, we come across the cutest little guy in our bag. And now you're wondering, wait a minute, what bag is this? Was this my donate bag? I wasn't really going to donate him, was I? He's so cute. And now you find yourself shopping from your own donation bag, which is, in my opinion, the wrong direction. So we're going to talk more about cute. I'm going to give you my definition for the word cute in just a little while. And we're going to talk about what to do if this cute critter is actually worth something as well, because sometimes collectibles and things may have some value. So we absolutely want to have a bag. We want to clearly label our bag. I'd also love for you to have just a timer on hand. This, I think, is truly the secret sauce. I talk about it in Keep This, Toss That. I think it is so important because if you don't know where to begin, when to start and when to stop, if you procrastinate, we're turning the boring chore of decluttering into a challenge, just like a game show. We're going to set a timer, 5, 10, 15 minutes, you pick, and see what you can accomplish in that little window of time. And you might really surprise yourself as to how much you can get done when you're really trying to play beat the clock, and it turns that chore into a challenge. So you could get up during the commercial break from a favorite television show and see what you can do on the commercial breaks. And before you know it, you've put 5 or 15 or 20 minutes in towards organizing one category, when maybe you've been wanting to get started, but you didn't because you didn't have a big block of time. I think all those small, consistent steps add up to a big win. So I invite you to have a timer on hand. And you might be saying, well, Jamie, why would I have to use a kitchen timer? Why don't I use a timer on my phone? Well, I'll tell you why. If I go to use the timer on my phone, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to start checking the weather and my emails and log on social media. And I'm going to say, I'm organizing today, but I'm really not. I'm telling you about organizing. I'm not actually organizing. It's 2 completely different activities. So I'm not great at staying focused with my phone in my hand, but if you are, wonderful. And if you have one of those devices in your home that you can say so-and-so, I'm not going to say her name, set a timer, then you could certainly do that as well. So with this timer ticking down, we have our bag ready. It is labeled. We're almost ready to go. I would just also love for you to have one other thing, and that's just a little refreshment. That's just a bag of maybe trail mix or nuts and a little water. And that's because I'm inviting you to work for a full, let's say 10 minutes. If in those 10 minutes, you get a little thirsty and you leave to the kitchen to get a sip of water, you know what? You're never coming back. So I would invite you to have everything you need on hand. Plus, let's say you're working in a clothes closet that's supposed to be a walk-in clothes closet, but you haven't walked in lately. Well, now if you find yourself walking in and can't find your way out, you'll have provisions. So it's a win-win for everyone across the board. We're going to have our snacks. We're going to set our timer. Our bag is labeled and ready to go. Let's give ourselves a deadline before we begin. A deadline almost always ensures success. And why is that? Well, because when we have a deadline, we absolutely have to do it. Otherwise, you're like, oh, I could do it today. I could do it tomorrow. I could do it next week. I'll get to it. But when you have a deadline, let's say an organization that's coming to pick things up from your home, you have to fill a bag because you know they're coming. So a deadline is a really great way to make things happen. If you happen to be in the Wichita area, mark your calendar for Saturday, May 14th. Do you know what's happening on Saturday, May 14th? There is a big shred it day happening. So from 10 in the morning till noon, the Cambridge Market, which is on 21st and Webb, right by the Baskin-Robbins. Well, this is going to be, you can bring 5 boxes if you're a Wichita resident. So 5 boxes of things to be shred. So start filling up the car now and you'll be ready to go. So this is on Saturday, May 14th from 10 to 12, and it's the Cambridge Market. I would suggest going on the early side because when the truck is full, they drive away and you don't want to miss out with 5 boxes per person. So it's right near the Baskin-Robbins. So what do we have? We have a deadline. And it doesn't mean you have to go through your whole filing cabinet, but it gives you the deadline of at least 1 or 2 boxes or maybe 5, right? And so we have a deadline of picking up things. Again, it makes things happen. And this deadline for the shredded event happens to be right by the Baskin-Robbins, which means reward, right? So after you get the boxes there, you get to have a scoop of ice cream. And I think a reward is a really fun way to, again, ensure things happen and give yourself that little, cheer for getting things done. So think of a reward that would be important to you, whether it's if you go get your nails done or you like a specialty coffee or you want to watch a movie or anything else that you've been saying, I'm going to do that. Well, now we're going to do it, but we're really going to do it because we're going to organize first and then enjoy that little sweet treat. So there's lots of different ways to make things happen. And once our bag is ready to go, we set our timer and begin. Where should we start? There's so many choices. And then you're like, well, I could spend my 10 minutes walking around the house trying to figure out where to begin. So I'm going to invite you to begin in that bathroom area, which also probably includes the linen closet. And I think this is a great place to start. The bathroom is probably where you find yourself early in the morning and maybe in the evening. So you're bookending your day in a space that's organized. It's also a smaller space when it feels like the whole house, it's just the bathroom and maybe a medicine cabinet, maybe a vanity, a couple shelves, and of course the linens. As you're going through the linens, there's a really good chance that you're going to find sets of sheets for mattress sizes you no longer own, one too many good cleaning rags, because we have the regular cleaning rags and we have the good cleaning rags in case it's a good spill. I don't know. But if you have some linens that you could possibly part with, let's go ahead and fill up a bag. You can absolutely donate them. In addition to donating them, you might think of the local Humane Society or pet shelter. The volunteers are cleaning all the time and the puppies and kitties will curl up. It doesn't matter if there's a little bleach stain on it. So we're going to fill up this bag with linens. You might start there. Hopefully you're not too sentimentally attached to all of the pillowcases that have seen better days. So it's a great place to fill a bag. And it's maybe a really good cause that's close to your heart so you can share with the local Humane Society. Now, because they don't pick up, we do run the risk of filling a bag, getting it in the trunk of our car, and then driving around town for the next, 6-7 months, forgetting to drop off the donations. So if you're not having a pickup through like Donation Town, you might think about going ahead and calling them to say you're coming to drop it off. So you're making an appointment, which is another way of having a deadline. So our bag is ready to go with our linens, and that might be where you want to start. And then let's talk about the bathroom itself, because what you may not have realized is that beauty products, spa products, and personal care products, even first aid products like Band-Aids, do expire. I know, shocking. But once we know that, the bathroom's such a great place to go because you can find so many things, maybe some to donate, mostly probably a lot of them are going to be recycled. But because it has an expiration date, there's not a lot of thought that has to go into it. It's either still good or not. And so the decision's kind of been made for you. That's exactly why I wrote Keep This, Toss That. We almost all know what to do when it comes to organizing, but sometimes deciding keep or toss is the challenge. An expiration date is really helpful. So what I'm going to show you on camera is this is just a tube of hand lotion. And if you can notice on the camera, and it's teeny tiny, so I apologize, but right here, it looks like a little compact. It looks sort of like a clamshell, like a little compact. And that's what that looks like right next to the recycle symbol right there. And what that says inside, if you can get your magnifying glass to read it, it says 12M. And what does that mean? 12 months. So this hand lotion expires in 12 months. So when we start to look at expiration dates on things, even a great face cream that held all sorts of promises about, you know, moisture and wrinkle reduction and all of it, and then it didn't deliver on its promise, but it was really expensive. If you can't get your money back, then out it goes. So what we're going to think about here is looking at the different makeup products. Teeny tiny travel toiletries can often be donated to food banks and food pantries. So if you have those, we might be able to share. Medication, different prescriptions and supplements and vitamins. There are take back drop box locations. Walmart, the one on West 21st in Wichita, the Walgreens, most of the Walgreens, including Maze Road and Grace Medical Pharmacy, they all take back. So there's a big drop box and you can bring them in. And so it's a wonderful way to pare down that maybe medicine cabinet. We're looking for tweezers that don't tweeze, rusty razors, clippers that don't clip, nail polish in colors that you won't wear. You know how maybe you were at the makeup counter and they convince you to spend a little bit more to get the free gift, but the free gift is in a color you'll never wear? Well, now we know, out it goes. So all of those different pieces in that bathroom space, does anyone still have like those pink foam curlers for curling your hair, but now the foam is like disintegrating in the back of the drawer? Maybe you've got a hair dryer that doesn't work, any sort of things like that. Look at this. Any ideas what I did here? Who can guess what I did here? I'm checking in the chat to see if anyone has a thought, but if you guessed that I loved one color and didn't love the others, you'd be right. So why am I saving it? The one color is all used up. I don't love the other colors. I'm not going to just suddenly change my mind. So when we think about that bathroom space, who's ready to dive into the bathroom? You feel like you might be able to find a few things in there. Empty your recycling first so you're ready to go. I'm going to check in the chat now and see who's ready to tidy up that bathroom space. Let's get a yes if you're ready for the bathroom. Who's ready to dive in? Oh, Vicky's ready to go. I love it. Wonderful. Malika's got her hand up. She's like, yes, me, I'm ready. Oh yeah, Greta's going, yes, I'm ready. Carol's definitely in. I love it. I love it. Okay, well, let's see if we're really ready. Danny's in. Janice says yes. Oh, it's such a great place. It is a treasure trove of things to discard, recycle, trash. Patricia said, let's do it. Susan is in. I love this. All right, well, this is going to be our opportunity. I'm going to offer you just a few moments to take a jump start with me because Karen says yes. We're going to take, and it's just going to be 3 minutes on a timer. And if you're in a space and a place to pop up from our program, leave our program running, and you can head to a nearby bathroom. If you're not in a space or a place to do this, then maybe you'll work on digital decluttering. You can delete emails. But if you're ready, we're going to head to the bathroom. We're looking for 3 things in 3 minutes. It's not a race, so don't rush. You have a full 3 minutes to see if you can find 3 things. If you're ready, I'm going to start the timer. I'll be here to answer questions, but you are looking to find 3 things that can leave your bathroom. If you find more, then fantastic. But we're looking for 3 in 3 minutes. If you're ready to take on the challenge, we're going to begin and you can come back and tell us what you found. Let's see who has the oldest item. We're going to go in 3 minutes. Ready? We're going to start in 3, 2, 1, and let's tidy up together. So this is totally optional, but if you're ready for that jump start, please do join us. If you're not in a space and a place to jump up right now, again, I do invite you to work on emails or photos from your phone where you can delete. Digital clutter totally counts. So here we go. Our timer is ticking with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left for those of you that are able to join us. And if you felt compelled to work on the pile of papers that were right next to you, that totally counts as well. So let's see who's making progress in the next 2 minutes and 25 seconds as our timer ticks. Sue is busy at work. Lisa says, I'm at my daughter's house. Should I toss her stuff? Oh no, I don't know. I mean, as much as I'd love to say yes, I feel like maybe we'll have to direct you to your own handbag or wallet, I guess, or phone. So I don't know that she'd appreciate it. Or maybe she would. I love that question. Cheryl said, oh no, she had a major water leak last year and had to do the bathroom remodel. So her bathroom is the cleanest room in the house, but she did bag up extra towels last month and donated them. Oh, through a vet's office. Vet's office is another great option. So Cheryl's already got this. And you know, sometimes people will say, I had a major water leak, right? Whether it's the bathroom or the basement or something happens. And as sad as they are for the things to be gone, there's almost a sense of relief in a way that they didn't have to decide to deal with them. So Cheryl's already ready to go with that bathroom, and way to go. Let's do a little time check-in. We're just under halfway through with 1 minute and 19 seconds left. So 1:19 on our timer as our timer ticks, and you are busy, busy, busy getting some things done. Let's see who's finding what. Oh, this is great. So we're down now. We're going to have our final 1 minute warning. This is our 1 minute warning as our timer ticks away. And let's see who is finding what. Oh, this will be so exciting when you come back. All right, 50 seconds for those of you that are doing a little jump start with us. And if you're just waiting for the program to resume, you have 45 seconds and we will continue. So our timer is ticking and you are maybe finding 1 or 2 things, maybe 3 or 4. And we're down now to our final 30 seconds. It's our final 30 seconds as our timer ticks. Can't wait to see who comes back with what and tell us all about it in the chat. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're going to hear it ring because we are done. Here we go. So come on back if you hear that timer. If you got distracted and you're in the kitchen eating a snack, that's okay. Just refocus. Come on back. So Susan said in the chat that she found 5 items, prescription, hand lotions, and they're just, there they go. Hazel said, I have tweezers that don't ever work. They're out of here. Hair clips for about 20, and she only uses like her 5 favorites. Absolutely. And there we go. Oh, great. Well, Pat, I hope you'll join us again. Pat has to stay so long, but hopefully you can join us for another program in the future. Diane's got 5 medications out the door. Patricia said old blow dryer and curling irons. Fantastic. Way to go, everyone. Wow, this was quite productive. Carol's got moisturizing antibacterial soap. Oh, the color is maybe a little off. So that's gone, and she's got more, so I love it. Now, Jamie unsubscribed from 14 emails, which is a big win because those just keep coming. So fantastic. Elia found sunscreen that expired in April of 2015 and 2 curling irons. Her daughter moved out 3 years ago and left them behind. So there they go. Danny said, old box of chocolate. Oh, an old chocolate box. Okay. So it's, oh, does she do the same thing? I love to save those boxes because I always think they're going to be great drawer organizers. And then I'm always so disappointed when there's no more chocolate left inside. And several catalogs. Way to go. Shoe polish. Joni's got the shoe polish. Fantastic. Okay. Vicky threw out those tired headbands, an old room freshener, and switched out to the Easter towels. Oh, I love that she's refreshed for spring. and bringing, there goes Easter, in comes spring. I love it. Karen's got old lotion, old medications, and old toothpaste. Yes, toothpaste does expire. Can I just remind everyone, that was 3 minutes, right? Look at all that was accomplished. So if I were to say, how long is it going to take to go through that drawer or to fill a box with things to go? We might say, you know, we overestimate 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then you're like, wait, that was 3 minutes. So Beth's got 6 tubes of toothpaste, all new, discarded old headbands. Headband seems to be a trend tonight. What's going on with the headbands? So it's so true. The barrettes or the things that pinch your hair, they just don't work, or the brush is missing bristles. I don't know what we have, but when we find it, out it goes. So if we have extras, 6 tubes of toothpaste, all new, we can create that little supply box so that everything's ready to go. If you use a plastic box in case anything spills, but even first aid supplies, they do expire. That adhesive on bandages isn't good forever, and especially any that's open. So when you know that products expire, I'm going to give you a very broad rule of thumb when it comes to cosmetics and beauty and personal care items. You can always check with the manufacturer or Google it. But in general, let's just say from my dermatologist personally, and then from research for Keep This, Toss That, anything that's on the eye line that's liquid, so liquid eyeliner or mascara, is 3 months. 3 months. That's right up against your eye line. That is probably the most important one. And then from there, we're going to look at anything that would be probably on the face. So foundations and any sort of a pencil. So an eyebrow and eyeliner. If it's a pencil and you can sharpen it, please sharpen before your next application. It's not just to get a sharp point, but it's also for sanitary reasons. So anything like, you know, in this area, we're looking at a year. And again, these are very broad, but really helpful. And it's sort of what I refer to. So a year, lipsticks, glosses, blushes, powders, bronzes, eyeshadows, all of it. And then when we go more towards the body, hair, perfumes, all sorts of things. Now we're talking about like 2 years. So 3 months, 1 year, 2 years. And so when you start to think to yourself, okay, if you started spending maybe a little more time at home 2.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I know I bought that before that, then maybe it's on the side of, oh, it probably has to go. Sunscreen is generally 6 months. And these items may not injure you, although they can. So you always want to use caution. You know, chemical compounds change, things become more concentrated, they can irritate you, but they're also maybe not going to deliver what they say they'll deliver. So a 50 SPF after 6 months may not be a 50 SPF anymore. So you think you're getting the protection that you may not be getting. So we can always check with the manufacturer, but I just wanted to give you some sort of a helpful guideline. So when you're going through spaces, you can be like, yep, you're out of here. There's no way I'm keeping you. So there we go. Barbara found witch hazel with no expiration date, which is surprising. It's probably on there. It's probably just clear and really hard to see, but it actually does expire. So Barbara's going to be looking for that. If you ever have trouble seeing an expiration date, take a photo or expand the camera, zoom in, and hopefully it'll be a little easier to read. Not always, but sometimes. So hopefully that's helpful. So that's our bathroom. Way to go, everyone. That was just 3 minutes. So imagine if we employ this idea of a little timer method, and I hope you're loving kind of working, playing that beat the clock. Where else could we employ this message? And what about in the kitchen, the heart of the home? So this method is great for things like the kitchen drawer that you have to push things down just to open and close the drawer. That's a wonderful place to try this. In that drawer, you're going to find a playing card, because no junk drawer is complete without a random playing card that may or may not go to a deck you currently own. So during the time that's ticking down, you could go to match the playing card. You may also, if you're like me, find just a birthday candle. And it's going to be a birthday candle that got a little warm in the drawer, so it's slightly melted. And you're like, oh, maybe it'll melt back into shape. I've never seen it happen. So I feel confident that you could decide to let it go. I don't think I'm alone in all of the mayonnaise and ketchup packets, because they're free, of course. So why wouldn't you just bring them home? So there's all of those. And for a while, I was saving wine corks. And I kept telling myself, I'm going to make a trivet, like a hot plate with all the wine corks. I've never made a trivet. I will buy one, but I'm not even going to buy one because I have so many. It just felt like a project I should do, and I'm not sure why. I probably saw it online somewhere. So there they go. When the different condiment packets look a little different, the size, the shape, the color, the consistency, it's probably going to have to go. And we're going to think about this when it comes to stilltasty.com, STILLTASTY, Still Tasty. That's a website where you can type in what you have and it will tell you based on how it's been stored, whether or not you should consume it. So sometimes it's just obvious. Hot mustard that doesn't look like hot mustard, we know the answer. But if you're ever unsure, you can check out Still Tasty. Now, why wasn't that drawer easy to open? And that's because we have the silverware packets inside. These are all the silverware that we get from takeout, and sometimes it has salt and pepper, which makes it a deluxe silverware packet. And you're like, oh, maybe I need it. I assure you, you have salt and pepper. So it's all going to be fine. So we're going to look for some of these items like the jar openers that don't actually work to open a jar and all the other things that are just tucked in a drawer. Oh, like Lego. Anyone else have Lego bricks? Oh, yeah. So if you have these and maybe you just have too many or the kids are done playing with them, you can actually sell them at de-clutter, D-E-C-L-U-T-T-R, de-clutter, D-E-C-L-U-T-T-R. So there's no E before the R. It's de-clutter, D-E-C-L-U-T-T-R, de-clutter.com. You tell them what you have. You tell them, I have Lego, I have CDs, I have DVDs. So when we get to the living room, we'll talk more about that. But CDs and DVDs or books and electronics and also Lego. And so declutter may be an option for you. So we're also looking in the drawer to find all of the utensils that we're no longer using and loving. They're warped, they're cracked, they're peeling, they're melted. We have too many, they're flimsy, you don't use it, you don't love it. Or like this one that I do love has a slice. Somehow a knife sliced it and there's no way to clean that properly. So the answer is it has to go. And it's disappointing because it is one of my favorites. And in the drawer, is anyone else going to find electronic cords that may or may not go to something you currently own? I don't know, might be for a cell phone, might not be, no one knows. So if you have the little tab that comes off of a bag of bread or potatoes or bagels, just that little bread tab, pop it right over a cord, and then you can write directly on the cord. And that's going to allow you to label this. So you know, cell phone versus GPS or anything else. So you could buy a cord labeling kit, or you could just do that. So if you've been saving them and you're like, gosh, I wonder if Jamie's going to tell me what I could do with these. Great news. You've definitely tuned into the right program. So if you have electronics that need to be recycled, so old printers or VHS, VCR machines, or you have maybe smartwatches or tablets or phones or anything else, both Staples and Best Buy stores are collection points for recycling. Best Buy and Staples stores are collection point for electronic recycling at no charge. So you can add that to your list if you've got a few things that need to head out the door. And could we possibly just set that timer for 3 minutes and play the matching game? We're going to play the food storage containers to lids. That's always fun. And see just how many you have. Or spend 3 minutes looking through your spices. And then you find the pumpkin pie spice that expired in June of 2016. And we know the answer. So there are some things hopefully you're going to find along the way. And we can do this in little bits of time. 3 minutes here, 10 minutes here, while you're waiting for the oven to preheat for dinner. We're keeping the good chip clip, the good one that keeps the bags closed. And we're letting go of the broken one, the flimsy one. And if you have rubber bands, you might consider bringing the rubber band down to the level of what's inside a jar or bottle that you can't easily see through. So at a glance, you're like, oh, that's how much I have left of that marinade or that sauce or that spice. And that way you don't end up buying more when you don't need it or running out when you did need it, but you didn't think you did, so you didn't buy it. So the rubber bands, the really nice ones that come off of like bags of celery and things like that, that could be a really perfect way to label some things when you can't easily see through. And should we talk about the cookbooks? I feel like we should. The cookbooks. May I remind you, and I think both Savannah and Tracy would tell us that yes, indeed, this is true. The Wichita Public Library has cookbooks you can borrow. You can read them digitally. So the great news is you may not need to store the ones that you have. Check if the ones you love are in stock and in circulation so you could borrow them. Keep the few that maybe you reference, but if it doesn't have pictures or it's not your favorite cuisine or it has ingredients that you never keep on hand and you never use it, then I think that's probably going to be a so long, you are going. Betterworldbooks.com, better, B-E-T-T-E-R, better world books, books with an S, betterworldbooks.com. And this is where you can find a local drop box. It's usually a green mailbox, and you can drop your books in there. And they will take encyclopedias and travel guides and almanacs and all sorts of things if you have some things to share. So thinking about maybe you have the, I don't know, almanacs, travel guides, all sorts of cookbooks and other books. Of course, we love to support the library, and sometimes there's, book sales and things, but they don't want textbooks and encyclopedias and old books. So my rule of thumb is if I would give it to my sister-in-law, I would donate it. And if not, then there it goes. And we just simply recycle it. So finally, in our kitchen, when we're talking about our kitchen space, you may have some leftover paper goods. And these are going to be paper goods that are left over from a particular holiday or event. And so you're saving them because the holiday or event will come again. And so we're cluttering up our kitchen with things we might use a year from now in the hopes that we'll remember we own it and know where to find it, which is a tall order. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret about paper goods, napkins, and plates that you may be saving because they're themed for one very special day of the year. And that is, they work like a plate or a napkin any other day of the year. I promise you this. So you could just start to use them up. Things are meant to be used and loved and enjoyed. And when we're using it up, we're doing it right. But when we save them for a special occasion, just in case, what if, and then all of a sudden our home is filled with things we're not using. Basically, we're storing stuff for a life we're not living, making living today extra challenging. The average person can be wasting almost an hour a day looking for lost or misplaced things. And if that feels like you some days, by paring down to just what you use and love, it gives you the freedom to enjoy all the other things that life has to offer instead of feeling like you're bogged down, continuing to sort the same stuff over and over again. So we now have a system for heading to that bathroom space where we've got some general guidelines in place. And just to clarify, the guidelines for the mascara and the liquid eyeliner, that would be for once you've opened it and it's touched the eye or near the eye area. Because it's going back in. But for mostly the other things, it is the timeline, really, the clock starts ticking on that timeline from when the product comes home. And that's because it does continue to degrade. So, just because it's sitting in the closet and hasn't been open to air doesn't necessarily mean it hasn't been degrading over time. So you can take those, guidelines and adjust them for the way that feels right to you. And you can always check with the manufacturer if you're not sure. But the timeline really does start. And I know that because I bought eyeshadow at a grocery store and it didn't look quite right. So I called the manufacturer and they were like, wow, how can that still even be on the shelf? It should have been taken out long before that. So they did explain that the timing starts actually sooner than we would think. So it's not great always to stock up on stuff, but great question. And thank you for clarifying. So, we've got a father-in-law that gifted a set of cookbooks. And yes, you can absolutely donate them. So that would be a lovely thing to pass along to someone that could use and maybe love it more than you are. So yeah, perfect idea. All right. So stuff's going out the door. We're filling that bag for donate. When it comes to the kitchen, as we wrap up our time there, let me just remind you about all of the ways you have to drink water bottles and cups, and then all of the drinking vessels for coffee and tea. We have teacups and travel mugs, and if you have enough coffee mugs to open your own cafe, it might be time to just pare down just a few. So we can start there as well. The kitchen is a treasure trove of places where you can get started. You just have to pick one and begin. It's not only the kitchen though, it's also that living space. So we touched on the books and the bookcase and Better World books. What we didn't talk much about would be the CDs and the DVDs. So if you have music and movies and there's a few too many on the shelf and the shelf is starting to bow under the weight of all the things, then you might consider Ziffit. And Ziffit is where you could sell them easily. Ziffit, Z-I-F-F-I-T. Z is in zebra, I is in ice cream, Z-I-F-F, Frank, I, ice cream, T is in Tom, Ziffit, ziffit.com. So you'll need to make an account, but then you can, if you did it on your smartphone, just scan the item, scan the barcode, and they'll tell you if they'll buy it from you, or you could type in the information. And if they will buy it from you, they will give you a postage paid label to send it. So you just need the little envelope and you'll make some money. So if you're not too into like a yard sale and things, the weather's unpredictable, it's not your favorite way to spend a weekend, this can be a way to save a little money back in your pocket. So you see the money come back, and that's Ziffit, Ziffit, also in the chat as well, and also at jamienovak.com under resources. So we've covered that bookcase area, and on the bookcase, you may find some treasured pieces, whether they're collectibles and really cute things, or things that might be true treasures, souvenirs, and all sorts of stuff. So let's talk about that next. We'll talk about clothes, then we'll wrap up, get to any of your questions, and hopefully you're planning to set a timer maybe as soon as this evening and do a little something else. We'll see. Maybe you're just really feeling motivated after our time together, and I sure hope so. So let's talk about those cute plush toys, cute figurines, cute decorations, cute decor, cute souvenirs, cute, C-U-T-E. Here's what I think it stands for. I think cute is an acronym, and I think it stands for can't use this ever. Can't use this ever. And it's a great way to think of it, right? So sometimes they're adorable, but they bring us back to a moment in time, and they make us happy and they make us smile. And I think we should have more things around our house that make us happy and make us smile. So you get to keep it. But if it's just one more cute thing that's basically an adorable dust collector that you have to maintain, and it's not your favorite, what we can do is maybe take a photo of it. So by taking a photo of anything, it keeps the memory without keeping the stuff, because really it's a memory jogger. It just reminds you of that person, place, event, or whatever. But it's not that you actually maybe sometimes have to hold the item. So a photo can be a great way to keep the memory without keeping all the stuff. But if you say to me, Jamie, that's great, and I can probably pare down some of the cute stuff. But what if it's a cute collectible that may have monetary value? Or what if it's maybe more like an antique, again, may have monetary value? Well, of course, our wonderful Wichita Public Library is a treasure trove of research information. We have research librarians. We have books upon books where we can look things up. However, if you're at home and you'd like to do it from the comfort of your home, you can look up the value of books for free at Biblio, B-I-B-L-I-O, Biblio, B-I-B-L-I-O, biblio.com. When you get there, it's just a search bar. You don't even have to make an account. Type in what you have, author, title, ISBN, and hopefully it's in their database, and it will start to give you a sense of, oh, you've really got something here, or, oh, unfortunately, not so much. And if it's anything else, collectibles, coins, cards, figurines, just about anything else, furniture, jewelry, watches, artwork, all of it, you can look that up at Go Antiques. Go, G-O, Antiques, and Antiques has an S at the end. Go Antiques. So when you get there, again, you don't have to make an account. It's totally free. You can type in the information. And if you don't know, because maybe there's no marking or you can't read the marking, type in descriptors, burgundy teacup, maple leaf, gold, and just see if some of the descriptors will bring up a picture of what you think you have, and you can do a little more research in that way. So that's goantiques.com, G-O Antiques, goantiques.com. So a few different ways to get started here. Now, if you're trying to pass on the china or the teacups or the candlesticks to the next generation, in hopes that we won't be forgotten by our items being used down the line, and you've asked, and the kids, the grandkids, the niece, the nephew, the son-in-law, they're like, nope, not interested, don't want the teacups, don't want the candlesticks. Just know that their appreciation level of things can change over time. So be patient, but I don't think anyone wants to be gifted an entire home or even an entire curio cabinet or a sideboard or hutch of things. So by you paring down to a few key things that have a great story, and capture the story on a little index card. And if you'd like to pass it on sooner rather than later, here's what you can do. Find the item, write down the story, put it with the item, go to your gift wrap closet. We're going to look for just a little something to wrap this up. So we want to take the good tissue paper and smooth it out one more time if it's a little crinkly. Then we're going to find a bow. And I don't mean the bow that you have to fluff up and double stick on one more time. I mean the good bow. We're looking for the good bow here. So we're going to wrap this up with the story, attach the good bow. Then we're going to gift it to that person. And on their birthday or anniversary or housewarming, they're going to open it up. And what are they going to say? But, oh, wow, the teacup, you gave me the teacup. Now, some families are going to think this is funnier than others. If it goes over well, you take all the credit. If it doesn't go over so well, blame me. But it can be a way of starting to share a few things that have a great meaning to you and a wonderful story, things that have been passed down, and you can share them. So hopefully that will begin our journey when it comes to the kitchen and the living room and some of those special pieces. And that brings us to the close. So we'll talk about clothing before we wrap up our time together and get to any of your final questions, but I cannot be the only person that's saving a t-shirt in case I have a wardrobe change. And by a wardrobe change, what I mean is if I'm going to paint or garden, I always think I'm going to change, but then I forget to change. So if you too are saving clothes in case you have a changing situation, keep the gardening t-shirt with the gardening supplies. That's where you're going to need it. Or put the t-shirt with the painting supplies so you'll remember just to change into it right there on the spot. Now you saw what we were able to accomplish in just 3 minutes. So if the clothing is feeling a little overwhelming, maybe don't start there. We'll start with expired, store coupons and things, and we'll work up to clothing that is a little more expert level. But we're going to look for caps that have shrunk in the washer. They are not our favorite. We don't support that team anymore. I don't know what's happening. And I also don't know where the other sock is. I don't know. I can't explain it. It always goes missing. So we'll give it a moment, see if we can match it up. You can donate socks. Socks are not such a personal item that you can't donate it. And it's one of the items that are most requested. So please do consider donating socks and clothing. Always check the pockets first. So you could take 3 minutes and see if you can find 3 things from a dresser drawer and then 3 things from the hanging closet. And all of a sudden you've started to fill a bag little by little by little. If you wanted to sell clothing, one of the easiest places to do it is Poshmark, 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 Poshmark. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit as to how tech savvy you are. You learned Zoom. I think Poshmark's even easier. You basically can download the app or go to the website. You're going to take one really good quality photo. There's no listing fee, so you can put things up and see if it sells. You need at least one good photo in good lighting, and then you can put the item up. Shoes, clothes, handbags, accessories, men's, women's, children, jewelry. Pop up the photo, put a price, and wait for a buyer. Buyer pays the shipping, and Poshmark takes about 10%. Please don't quote me on that number. I'm just saying it's about 10%, and you can always look at the fine print. But it might be an easy way to, put a few things up for sale. And if you just want to donate the shoes and not list them, DSW Shoe Warehouse is a collection point for shoes. They support Souls for Souls. So if you'd like to donate shoes to Souls for Souls, you can do that through the DSW Shoe Warehouse. So a couple of different resources. You'll remember we started our time together talking about preparing our toolkit. So we'd have everything on hand, and our toolkit included a deadline. And a deadline is so important to making things happen. So I invited you to start by collecting a bag. And for a lot of us, that means finding a bag in our bag collection. Now, it may be just a basic kitchen trash bag, and that works. But if you're trying to find a bag to fill for donation, you might also at the same time want to pare down your personal bag collection. Your personal bag collection probably has plastic shopping bags that are inside other plastic shopping bags. So we can start there, followed by the brown shopping bags. Sometimes they have the really good double handle, so that makes it an excellent brown shopping bag. Those are in the regular bag collection. In the secret bag collection are the really good shopping bags. These are the shopping bags from the higher end stores. And these bags have a ribbon or a rope as a handle. And they're the really, really good shopping bags. And I don't think it matters how much you like the person that might be taking leftovers home from your house. It doesn't matter, because why? You're not giving them the good shopping bag. These are the really good shopping bags that we're saving for a very special occasion. And of course, we must discuss all the gift bags. The gift bags that we have in all different shapes and sizes, including what could be possibly the cutest bag ever? And let's remember, cute, can't use this ever. Does anyone else have the clear zipper bags that you saved from when you got linens or a shower curtain, a comforter set? So we have these bags, great for travel. Excellent if you're a crafter. They're clear, they're see-through, they zipper, they're wonderful. So as we wrap up our time together talking about the bag collection, before we get to any of your final comments, questions, and my greatest hope is that you'll take a moment and fill out the survey that Savannah is going to share with you in a moment. Please don't forget that if all of this advice fails and you still feel overwhelmed by the clutter, all you have to do is take one of your many gift bags, slide all the clutter you can see inside, tuck a little tissue paper and put it behind you. No one's going to know that it's not a gift that you're going to give, that it's actually your clutter hiding in plain sight. So that's the last tip I wanted to share with you as we wrap up our time together. I was delighted to be invited by the Wichita Public Library. Tracy, I worked most closely with you to put this program together, and she was it was flawless from start to finish. Savannah's going to be sharing a survey with us in just a moment. I do hope you'll take a moment. I won't have any access to it, so please feel free to share your comments and how you really feel. The public library would love to know what you're looking for. Please do visit the library's website for more information. And for more about me, if you'd like to stay in touch, the Tuesday newsletter, the toss of the day. Today is Garlic Day, so happy National Garlic Day. Today we're talking about tossing garlic presses that we don't know how to operate, or if we have too many. There's a podcast, a YouTube show, a Tuesday tip, and of course the toss of the day. So please do visit. What a delight it was to get to see everyone. The link to follow so you can fill out the survey is right there in the chat. So please do consider doing that for us. At this time, we'd love to open it up to any questions or comments. If you weren't able to use chat throughout the program and you'd like to unmute at this time, you'd be more than welcome to. I do see all of your lovely comments. Yes, Susan, there's an absolute full chapter on paperwork, how long to keep things, how to store things, and everything else. Thank you for inquiring. And I see all of your lovely comments coming in. Beth is laughing at the gift bag of paperwork. I couldn't agree more. So you can just hide things and we'll deal with them later. I love it. Well, it was really lovely to see you all. We had such a wonderful turnout, and that just means you're not alone. Barbara's giving us a thumbs up on the book. Thank you for that. So I will stop talking now to see if there's any questions that I can answer, anything you'd like to share. If I can clarify, repeat anything, or answer a question, now's the time to ask. And I will just assume you're asking for a friend. So you don't even have to say it. We're just going to assume automatically that, of course, you're asking for a friend.
Jamie, there was one question towards the beginning. It was about the shredding events. Do they shred them while you watch, is what one of the individuals asked.
What a great question. And that is so very important to know that you're going to a reputable place. And often what they have is a closed circuit camera, so you can watch your box or boxes go through the truck. So in this case, yes, it is indicated on the website that they do have it on a camera, and you are not getting out of your car. So basically you'll follow the guides, you'll drop off, there's probably cones. They will take everything, so the marked boxes out of your car and then into the truck, and you can watch it go through on closed circuit. And that is such an important piece. So what a great question. If you're not able to get to that event, UPS stores and Staples stores will shred for you. It's usually $1 a pound. So there we are. Oh, Danny's got a basement. Oh my goodness. Yes. So Carrie, for the expiration dates, it's basically by the manufacturer. You could just Google, makeup expiration dates, and there should be a chart that will come up. A lot of magazines and things do print them in their magazines as well. So don't pull it out of the magazine at the library, just make a copy at the library. So it's not a particular website. Oh, but if it's food, then it's Still Tasty, STILLTASTY, Still Tasty for food. And then for makeup, we'd have to look at the manufacturer. And Danny's asking about the basement, and what a great question, because although we covered, spaces in your home, we didn't really touch on those storage areas. So whether it's an attic or a basement or a garage or just a room in the back that you don't really use, and it's more like storage, or just a closet with a lot of stuff in it, that's sort of like that bigger project. And of course, 3, 5, 10 minutes probably isn't going to be sufficient, right? You can't pull everything out in that amount of time. And that's really exactly it. I don't know that pulling everything out or bringing everything out is the right way to go when it comes to a big project. It's easy to overwhelm yourself. So I would look at how you want to use this space. And then if you can, bring one box up at a time, like out of a basement or an attic, or give yourself half a day and say, I want to get to this many. So give yourself a goal and then go through. We want to be sure that we have places to put the things. So one tablecloth, let's say your old tablecloth for keep versus toss versus donate versus recycle, or bins or boxes, so you can easily sort and you don't just make more piles to deal with later. And so big projects, I think, are still done in little bits of time, maybe longer little bits of time, but still little bits of time. And I would take a before photo so you can see where your effort goes, because it can be a little disheartening if you're like, I worked all afternoon and I only see like a little difference. And then you look at the before photo and you're like, oh wait, I cleared all of that. So before photos can be really encouraging, and I would encourage you to take one. So hopefully that's going to be helpful. Little bits of time, know how you want to use the space, and go through and sort in the moment into different piles, and then all that stuff that's not staying heads out. So it can be done. I know it can be done. I work with clients virtually every single day, especially on the spaces you're mentioning, and it absolutely can be done. So go for it. Absolutely. Oh, Jamie's asking, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Her mother passed away several months ago, and she's asking what paperwork needs to be kept. This is a little different than just, our own personal basic household paperwork, because we have an estate here, Jamie. So that's not really something that I would feel confident in giving you, guidance on, only because it is so recent. Right now, I would say almost keep everything, most especially until the estate is settled, and then keep final records of things or year-end statements of things. Generally 3 years is a good rule of thumb, although some lawyers would prefer for you to hold on to it for 7 years. And that's because the IRS has up to 7 years to come back and ask questions. So I would check with who's ever assisting you in settling the estate. And again, I'm very sorry. But I would just say right now, it's almost like keep it all, because you just don't know what you'll need. And then we can start to filter it out from there. So it's a lot, but you can almost make your own little box that we talked about earlier, maybe just for your mother's estate, as you're trying to organize all that paperwork. So yeah, it's a good question. What to keep and what to toss is, exactly why I wrote the book. And so the paperwork chapter does cover it, but not this early on. So Jamie, I hope that helps. And if there's anything that we weren't able to answer, please do find me on social media, and I'd be happy to answer there. Or come to another program. And if you're looking for something on a different topic, it'd be great to see you again. Tracy, Savannah, what a lovely evening. I hope that everyone's feeling inspired to go set their timer and continue on.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Your program was incredibly informative, and we're so grateful for all of the information that you shared. I do want to let everyone know that at the Wichita Public Library, we do actually have 3 copies of Jamie's book. So you can place it on hold and check it out, and just enjoy the opportunity to learn and actually apply it to your own lives. If you are interested in the other programs that the Wichita Public Library offers, in that slideshow that we had at the beginning, we focus on 3 that we have upcoming. You can visit our website at wichitalibrary.org and go to the events section. You can see everything that we're doing. We have both in-person programs and Zoom programs. And then I think that concludes tonight's program. And Jamie, I just want to thank you so much. I learned a lot, and I'm incredibly grateful.
Well, it was really my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and all the work that went into putting this together, and to each and every one of you for taking time and spending it here with us. Cheers to a clutter-free spring. Let's go lighten up, everyone.